The Champions League is back again, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions for the 4th match day in the UCL League phase. In today's video, I'm going to be predicting the scoreline for every single match, and obviously, if you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But if you disagree with my predictions, leave your predictions down below, and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. Last match day was an incredible week of Champions League football with so many upsets, so hopefully this week, we do see some more crazy upsets. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. Starting off with the first match on Tuesday, we have PSV Eindhoven against Jona. To be honest, both of these teams haven't really been that good so far in this Champions League, and they both sit pretty low on the table. But in this match, I do think that PSV are definitely the favorites. In the Eredivisie, PSV currently have 10 wins and they still have 0 losses. They are one of the only teams in Europe's major leagues that have still not yet lost a game this season. When on the other hand, Girona currently sit around mid-table in the La Liga and they haven't really had the best start compared to how they were performing last season. With the home advantage, I do think that PSV will win this game, but I think it will be very close and PSV will win 1-0. Moving on to the next game, we have Slovan Bratislava against Dinamo Zagreb. Slovan Bratislava have been the worst team so far in this Champions League, and in their first 3 games, they still have 0 wins and they have a goal difference of -10. They have been very poor, and I think in this game, they will once again lose. They do have the home advantage, and we have seen Dinamo Zagreb play pretty poorly in certain games this Champions League. For example, in the first game where they lost 9-2 against Bayern Munich, which was a horrible result. But since that game, Dinamo Zagreb have been playing much better. They got a draw and they also got a win in their most recent game. And for that reason, even though they are playing away, I think they will beat Slovan Bratislava 2-1. Moving on to the next match, we have Bologna against Monaco. Honestly, it's sad to see how bad Bologna have been this season. And I know they lost Calafiori, I know they lost Xerxes, and obviously they did lose Thiago Motta. But they did replace these players with new transfers, and I thought that they were still going to have a pretty good season. But in the Champions League, they sit near the bottom, and in the Serie A, they currently sit in mid-table. Monaco, on the other hand, have been very good, both in the Champions League and also in the Ligue 1, where they currently sit 2nd place in that league, only behind PSG, and they have only lost 1 game so far this season. Even though Bologna are playing at home and they do have that advantage, I think Monaco will be able to pull off with a draw, and I think the score will be 2-2. Moving on to the next game, we have Borussia Dortmund against Sturm Graz. Borussia Dortmund, in my opinion, have had a pretty good Champions League campaign, but they have been a little bit inconsistent. We saw it in their recent game against Real Madrid, where they played incredible in the first half and they scored 2 goals and they were up by 2 goals. But in the second half, they conceded 5 goals and they lost that game 5-2. Sturm Graz haven't been good so far in this Champions League and they do sit near the bottom of the table. And for that reason, I think Dortmund will pretty comfortably win this game 3-0. The next game we got is Celtic against RB Leipzig. Celtic are obviously a very good team in the Scottish division, but so far in this Champions League, they have also been a little bit inconsistent. We've seen them play incredibly, like when they beat Slovan Bratislava 5-1. But we've also seen them play pretty poorly in a couple games, including their recent game against Atalanta. But in my opinion, I actually think that RB Leipzig are going to come back in this game. Like I said, they have been really bad so far in this Champions League, but I think this is finally a game where I think they have what it takes to win. They've been versing some very difficult teams in the last few weeks, and against Celtic, even though they are playing at home, I do think RB Leipzig are going to upset a lot of people, and I think they're going to win this game 2-1. Moving on to the next game, we have Lille against Juventus. Lille have surprised so many people so far in this Champions League, as in the second match day, they beat Real Madrid, and in the third match day, they beat Atletico Madrid, which a lot of people didn't expect. Juventus, on the other hand, have also been pretty good, but in the last match day, they played so poorly against Stuttgart. That was one of the worst games from Juventus so far this season. Even though Lille do have the home advantage, I think Juventus will come back from that poor performance in their last Champions League match day, and I do think they will win this game 2-1. The next game we got is, in my opinion, one of the best matches in the 4th match day, and it is Liverpool against Bayern Leverkusen. Liverpool have been absolutely outstanding this season. They have been so good in the Champions League, in the Premier League. They have been one of the best teams in the world. And yes, Bayern Leverkusen are also an incredible team. They have some incredible players, they have incredible scoring ability, and obviously their manager is very good. But in their last Champions League fixture against Brest, they did not play good. And in this game, again, they're playing away, and I do think Liverpool will be able to win. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. Both of these teams have been scoring a lot of goals this season, but I do think Liverpool will just edge it, and I think they're going to win this game 3-2. The next game we got is another crazy game. We have Real Madrid against AC Milan. Both of these teams have been unexpectedly poor this season. Real Madrid were expected to win the La Liga. They were expected to be the favorites in the Champions League. And so far, it has not been going that well. When AC Milan, on the other hand, made some incredible signings, they obviously brought in a new manager, but them as well have not been playing that good this season. And in this game, obviously Real Madrid do have the home advantage, but they're coming off a few really tough defeats. But with the home advantage, I still think Real Madrid do have the advantage and the capabilities to beat Milan. I'm going to predict that Real Madrid win this game 2-1. The next game we got is Sporting against Manchester City. Man City are obviously one of the best teams in the world, and so far in this Champions League, they have been winning almost every single game, and by a pretty good amount of goals as well. But in this game against Sporting, I think Sporting actually have the ability to beat Manchester City. It's always with these Portuguese teams. I don't know what it is about them, but they have this crazy capability to beat some of the top teams in the world. And I feel like a lot of people underrate some of these Portuguese teams, especially Sporting, who have been one of the best teams in the world so far this season. They have been on incredible form in the Portuguese league, and even in the Champions League, they have been doing very, very good. Obviously, Man City are playing away, and for that reason, I think they're going to struggle a little bit in this game. Now, I do still think that Man City will win, but I think it will be a very, very close game. I'm going to predict a 2-1 victory for Manchester City. Moving on to the Wednesday fixtures, we have Club Brugge against Aston Villa. Aston Villa, in my opinion, have been the best team so far in this Champions League. They have won all 3 of their matches, and they have been playing very, very good in this competition and also in the Premier League as well. Club Brugge, on the other hand, haven't really been that good. They did win 1 game, but they lost the other 2 games. And for that reason, even though Aston Villa are away in this match, I still think they will be able to win this game 3-1. Moving on to the next game, we have Shakhtar Donetsk against Young Boys. To be fair, both of these teams have been very, very poor in this Champions League. Shakhtar Donetsk currently sit in 30th place, and Young Boys sit second to last in 35th place. But in my opinion, I do think Shakhtar are definitely the more experienced team in these UEFA competitions, and with the home advantage, I'm going to predict that Shakhtar win this game 2-0. Moving on to the next match, we have Bayern Munich against Benfica. In Bayern's last game, they suffered a very bad defeat against Barcelona, where they lost that game 4-1, which was a pretty shocking result for most people. And even in the second match day, Bayern Munich lost against Aston Villa 1-0, which again was a pretty big upset. Now, I do think Bayern Munich will win this game against Benfica because at home, they have been playing pretty good this season, but away, they haven't looked so good. Benfica obviously didn't do very good in the last match day, and with the home advantage, I think Bayern Munich will be able to win this game 4-2. The next game we got is Feyenoord against Salzburg. Salzburg have been another team that have been very, very bad this Champions League, and they currently sit in 34th place. They are 3rd place from the bottom of the list, and they still have 0 wins with a goal difference of -9. Salzburg are generally a pretty good team in these UEFA competitions, but so far they have still yet to score a goal, when on the other hand, Feyenoord have been doing pretty good in the Eredivisie, and even in this Champions League, they have also been playing pretty good. And for that reason, I do think this is going to be a pretty close game, but I'm going to say that Feyenoord win this game 1-0. The next game we got is Red Star Belgrade against Barcelona. Barcelona have been very, very good in this Champions League. Obviously, they did lose 1 game against Monaco, but other than that, they have been winning every single game, and they have looked very, very good. And even in the La Liga, they recently beat Real Madrid by a crazy amount, and they currently sit 1st place in that league. Even though Barcelona are playing away, I don't think Red Star Belgrade will be able to do much in this game. And for that reason, I'm going to predict that Barcelona win this game 4-1, and it is another amazing result for Barcelona. Moving on to the next match, we have another crazy game between Inter Milan and Arsenal. In my opinion, Arsenal have been a little bit inconsistent this season, both in the Premier League and also in the Champions League, where we've seen them pull off with some incredible results, like in their game against PSG. But in some other games, we've seen them struggle, like in the first match against Atalanta, and even in their more recent match against Shakhtar, they didn't play very good. On the other hand, Inter Milan have been much better. They did draw in their first game against Man City, but since then they have won both of their 2 games, and in this match against Arsenal, with the home advantage, I do think Inter Milan will win this game 2-1. The next game we got is PSG against Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid have been so poor this season. They have not been anywhere near as good as what I expected them to be. When on the other hand, PSG, yes, they have struggled a little bit in this Champions League, but in the Ligue 1, they have been playing much better. I expected PSG to do a lot better in this Champions League because in the first match, they barely beat Girona, and in the other two matches, they did not play good against Arsenal, and obviously against PSV, they did draw that game. But in their home fixtures so far this season, PSG have looked much better, and against Atletico Madrid, who are playing away, I think PSG will win this game 3-1. The next game we got is Sparta Prague against Brest. Brest have been surprisingly good this Champions League. In my opinion, they have been the most surprising team, and they currently sit in 5th place, having won 2 games and also getting 1 draw. In their last game, they did very good against Leverkusen, when Sparta Prague did horribly against Man City as they lost that game 5-0. But in this game, Brest are playing away, and I think that Sparta Prague are going to be able to get at least 1 point from this game. I'm going to predict that this game ends in a 1-1 draw. And finally, the last game we got is Stuttgart against Atalanta. Stuttgart did very good in their last game against Juventus, where they were playing away, but they surprisingly ended up winning that game 1-0, as Juventus did not play very good. When on the other hand, Atalanta were playing against Celtic in their last game, and they did do very good. They had loads of shots, they had over 2 expected goals, but they couldn't finish their dinner. They couldn't win that game, which was very shocking. But in my opinion, Atalanta are the better team. They have been playing very good this season, and especially in the Serie A, we have seen a few games where they have been scoring 5-6 goals, and they have a lot of goals in them. I think they will be able to beat Stuttgart 3-1. And that is the end of my Champions League predictions for the 4th match day in the UCL League phase. If you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But obviously, if you disagree with my predictions, remember to leave your predictions down below, and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.